Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I recently studied abroad in Florence, Italy, and I also did a week of solo travel after my program ended, and I made a lot of videos while I was there, which got a lot of responses from you guys saying that my videos either made you more excited for your study abroad or you had questions for me. So I wanted to make this video for you guys as kind of a resource. It's everything I think you need to know about studying abroad. I'm gonna assume that you have already chosen where you're going and your program, but if you have any questions about that, you can leave them down below or you can message me on Instagram. My handle will be right here. But yeah, let's just get into some of my tips for you guys. Alright, so let's talk about packing. So I took a large suitcase, a carry-on suitcase, and a backpack, and I felt like this was a really good amount for 12 weeks. I was able to pack my camera gear comfortably, and then when I got there I stored away my large suitcase in my wardrobe, and then on the weekends I traveled with my carry-on suitcase or my backpack. I'll get into this a little more later in the video, but on the budget flights, if you take any of those, the carry-ons do cost extra, so you can take your backpack as a personal item and just pack everything in there. You have to get a little bit creative, but it's definitely doable and I would recommend it a lot. Also, I won't dwell on this too much because I'm sure that you've already heard it, but please take comfortable walking shoes. No matter where you go, you're going to be walking a lot, and the last thing you want is to be miserable because your feet are hurting. In Florence specifically, the streets are made of cobblestone, so that can be really hard on your knees if you don't have proper support. So I'm not saying that you need to take your grandma shoes, but definitely take something that you are comfortable walking in, and you can find something cute and comfortable, I'm sure. As far as clothing, it's really going to depend on where you're going, but a lot of times you'll be there for like multiple seasons or like through a transition period. Like for example, when I got to Florence, it was still quite cold, and then by the end of the time I left, it was blazing hot. So you want to have definitely a couple things for every climate in case you're traveling to other places or in case you have a season change. Also, don't pack it if you don't wear it. I, for some reason, thought that my style would change when I got there and I'd want to wear something that I haven't worn in 3 years, but that just didn't happen. I kept gravitating towards the things that I would wear at home anyway. So just take things that you're comfortable wearing, and also keep in mind that you're going to have these pictures forever. So you want to wear something that's kind of classic and not maybe like not the most trendy thing. Lastly, about clothes, don't try too hard not to look like a tourist, because generally everywhere you're going, if they have a study abroad program, they are used to Americans being there, so you're not going to stick out like a sore thumb. Just wear stuff that you're comfortable in and dress like you. Another thing that you're going to want to pack is converters, and in Italy specifically, you can either have a 2-prong converter or a 3-prong converter. I took both of these and used them both and they worked. And these have 2 holes that you can put in. I'll link these down below if you're interested in them. If you're planning on taking any styling tools for your hair, make sure that they are the correct voltage for your country. The last thing you want to do is blow a fuse, so double check and Google your country's voltage, and then check on your straightener or curling iron or hair dryer what the voltage is, and make sure that they are the same. Most of the higher end styling tools that you will get are dual voltage. For example, I have a GHD and it worked over there. Also, you're going to want to pack a camera, of course. If you're wanting to vlog, I definitely recommend the Canon G7X, which is what I'm filming on right now, and I filmed a lot of my videos on in Italy. Alright, a quick crash course in booking flights to and from your study abroad destination. Generally, it's good to buy them early and keep flexible dates. And I know that you probably won't have a flexible date for when you get there because of moving into your apartment and getting picked up from the airport and everything, but you might have more of a flexible date of when you can leave. I, for example, stayed an extra week after my study abroad program so I could do a little extra traveling, and the flights ended up being cheaper at that time. But do keep in mind that you'll have to pay for where you're staying because you'll probably have to be moved out of your apartment on the date that your program ends. So factor that into your decision when you're calculating that. Some good search engines are Google Flights and Orbitz. I personally booked through Orbitz, and I found a like surprise deal where it told me within 24 hours of when I was going to leave and when I was going to get there, but it didn't tell me all the flight details until after I bought the flights. So that's something to look into. It's definitely a little bit of a gamble, but in my case it worked out really well. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is traveling on the weekends, and honestly this could be a whole nother video, but I'll touch a little bit on an overview, and then if you have any additional questions, leave them down below, and if I get enough, I'll make a whole nother video. Alright, so generally you'll have 3 options for transportation. You'll have a plane, a bus, or a train. I took all 3 of these when I was studying abroad and I didn't have any trouble for the most part. So for flights, there is a search engine called Go Euro where you can find different budget flights. The most prevalent ones I would say are Ryanair and EasyJet, and these are budget airlines, so make sure that you check the hidden fees because they can sneak up on you, but I'd say as long as you're packing in a personal item such as a backpack, you should be fine. I personally loved taking trains because it was very fast and you can book them like flights if you get the Trenitalia or the Go Euro app on your phone. Okay, and then for riding the bus, I didn't take the bus a ton, but if you are using city buses, be sure to read up on the rules in your country about validating tickets and everything. If you don't validate your tickets correctly, you can get fined. So I'll leave down below an article about Italy's rules specifically, but if you are going to a different country, you'll want to do your research about that. I personally didn't plan any excursions before I got there. I wanted to make sure I would have people to go with, so I waited until I had friends basically to book everything. So I think my second week is when we started booking all of our excursions. So something very prevalent in a lot of areas where there's a lot of study abroad students is the student travel companies like Bus to Alps. And I personally didn't do any of these, but if you are someone that likes to have your trip scheduled for you and everything taken care of, that is a good option to look into, and they have some really good budget options as well. I personally didn't opt for any of these just because I like to have kind of a more free-flowing schedule when I travel, but if you're someone that likes to have the planned itinerary, that's definitely something to look into. So my tip always for short-term traveling is to just hit the highlights that you want to do if you're only going to be there for a short amount of time, because there's nothing worse than rushing around and wearing yourself out trying to get to everything and not even getting to enjoy anything, and you can always go back if you feel like you missed anything. I know that a lot of people when they study abroad stay in hostels. I personally didn't stay in any hostels just because we found really good Airbnbs that we could stay at for a really good price, and we had very good experiences with those. But I would say first look on Airbnb and see if you can find anything, and then if they're still too expensive, then start looking into hostels. Keep in mind your class schedule if you are planning on traveling on the weekends. For me, I had class Monday through Thursday, and that worked out really well because I had Friday through Sunday to be able to travel. So when you're planning your classes, just keep that in mind. So while I did love taking weekend trips, I also love staying in Florence and just getting to relax and explore my own city. It can be very tiring if you are planning trips back to back to back every weekend. So just keep in mind that it's okay not to travel all the time. And then that's also a really good way to save some money because you aren't having to pay for transportation costs and everything. I want to quickly address something because I feel like it's not talked about enough on YouTube and Instagram, is setting realistic expectations. I know that when you're watching these travel videos and looking at pictures on Instagram, it can make everything seem like a complete dream. And for the most part it is. Like, you should definitely be excited. It's a really fun time. But just because you're in another country doesn't mean that all of your problems go away. So you're still going to be stressed out. You're still going to have days that you're a little bit down. And also set realistic expectations about your living situation and getting along with your roommates. So for me, I had a really good living situation. I really liked all of my roommates. But if that's not the case for you when you get there, don't stress because you can still find friends in your classes and just finding people that have common interests with you. Also, a really good way to make friends is offering to take pictures of people if that's something that you're into, because everyone wants to get their picture taken. So I was 23 when I went, so this wasn't really a huge issue for me, but I know a lot of people when they're under the drinking age in America and then they're suddenly drinking age in another country, they can go a little crazy. And not to say that you shouldn't go out and drink if that's what you are looking forward to, but just definitely be careful because there is a huge stigma about American girls in other countries, and a lot of times they can get targeted. So just keep in mind that you need to know your limits and surround yourself with people that you trust. Alright, so my next video is going to be a Q&A answering all of the specific questions I got from you guys, so definitely make sure to check that out down below. And if you have any other topics that you'd like me to cover, please leave them down below. I know a lot of you mentioned that you are planning on studying abroad in Florence, so if you'd like me to make a video more specifically talking about Florence, please let me know. Also, if anything in this video was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys soon. Bye!